The headlines: gas leak at Woodbourne causes anxiety. Economist chosen as BLP candidate after Mia Mottley intervenes. And Windies women continue winning. Welcome to Nation News for Thursday, October the 29th, 2015. The Barbados Fire Service has been on standby as the National Oil Company worked to fix a major gas leak at its Woodbourne oil field in St. Philip. A well was reported to have been damaged on Wednesday afternoon, resulting in natural gas spouting several feet into the air. It forced the diversion of traffic by police, and although nearby residents were not evacuated, some, including those with respiratory illnesses, opted to leave their homes and stay with relatives and friends. One resident told Nation News about her experience.
Not knowing what it was, I thought that they were cleaning the well. So going along, it got noisier, noise keep on persisting up and down, still not knowing. Went up by the school, you could hear that all up by the school. When it came home, then it still persisted, you started to get said in and out. So not knowing. So that was one of my main concerns because it's so close. I don't know if it can start a fire. I don't know what it can do. I have my kids here, run a business. So it was kind of upsetting. And then to hear on the news, on the radio, later the night, that there was supposed to be a newscast. We didn't hear anything then, and they asked him, had to message the DJ to ask him if it was about that. He said yes, but they were staying long. Then after all of that, there at minutes to 12, someone then came to let us know. My main concern is I don't know if we could have started a fire. I have a home here, I have a business, and I have my kids. So it was kind of disturbing, but I hope they get it rectified.
It was expected that the leak would have been brought under control sometime during the day. It is now said to be the world's largest international tax group, and there was a time when Barbados regarded it with a measure of skepticism and even hostility as it fought off claims of being a harmful tax haven. But those days are gone, and the Global Forum on Transparency and Exchange of Information for Tax Purposes has begun a two-day meeting here in Barbados at the Hilton. The forum is a creation of the Rich Nations group known as the OECD, but it has been broadened to include offshore tax jurisdictions like Barbados, which is a vice chair. Prime Minister Freundel Stuart used the opportunity of the meeting to appeal to members of the forum to remember that their decisions had far-reaching implications. In other words, a reminder that they could damage the reputations of countries like Barbados. He lauded the forum for the strides it has made over the years as the leading voice in international tax cooperation. However, he said some issues must be addressed if the progress of small developing countries is to be sustained.
Barbados, like the other countries here today, remains fully committed to and actively engaged in the work of the Global Forum. Yet, despite the high level of compliance and cooperation as reflected in the forum, and despite the plethora of exchange of information agreements signed and implemented, as the Global Forum and the OECD will testify, some of us are constantly placed on the defensive. We've had to fight to defend our legitimacy and existence as international financial centers, a developmental option which is inextricably linked to our country's developmental goals and the well-being of our people. We are particularly concerned that even at this stage, when the forum is considering its third mandate, there are still some member countries, even members of this forum, that create blacklists of other countries without regard to the implications such actions could have.
Barbados has signed another double taxation agreement, this time with Slovakia, as it continues to offer transparency in its tax arrangements as required by the Global Forum. Business Minister Donville Inniss said it is the 37th such agreement the country has signed, and it demonstrates how serious Barbados is about the international financial services sector.
The government certainly believes that this sector has even more potential than a lot of people may want to think about. And in order to make and facilitate companies going global, they need these kind of arrangements. As I said, it brings a level of certainty to the operation, a level of protection, and certainly is a good way of efficient tax planning. And we expect, therefore, that emanating from this ceremony here today, that both the Slovak Republic and Barbados will, through their private sector in particular, commence investments across the world.
Now, if you see the election of prospective parliamentary candidates as no contest coronations, here's the reason why. Barbados Labour Party leader Mia Mottley has admitted to asking the party's former Christchurch East Central candidate to step aside and make way for economist Straughn on Wednesday night. She says there's no ill feeling about the move, which had the support of the former candidate, attorney Desmond Sands, branch members and the party executive. In her speech following the unopposed nomination of the 39-year-old Straughn, Ms. Mottley said she had to put country before party, presumably meaning that his skills were more needed than those of another lawyer.
I met with Desmond and I asked Desmond, I said, Desmond, we no longer have an economist on our team. Clyde is my economic advisor. He does not want to run. I have a duty to have on this team an economist because I have to help stabilize this country economically. The bleeding must stop and the transformation must start. Desmond and I had a long conversation. We then agreed that we would meet with the executive, and we then had a meeting between the executive, members of my party executive, and members of the executive of the branch. And we reflected and we agreed that this was something that we could do together.
Mr. Straughn, a former president of the Economic Society, had some advice for the constituency and the party.
We must work hard in silence and let success make the noise. At the end of the day, we must ensure that people see us in the Barbados Labour Party as not just the party of choice, but the party that gets things done.
Barbadians have been advised to pay closer attention to the pension fund of the National Insurance Scheme. There is no need to panic right now, says pensions specialist Stephen Robinson, but he predicts that the NIS will have difficulties in meeting contributory pensions in the not-too-distant future.
The NIS funds, if nothing changes, they're projected to run out by 2056. If there is an adverse scenario, that goes down to 2045. So, I mean, many of us in here are still going to be alive at that time. So this is a particular concern for us, and we need to continue to watch what is happening with the decisions on the national insurance, and also make sure that we protect ourselves by continuing to save.
Mr. Robinson was speaking at a Barbados Chamber of Commerce luncheon seminar, which was also addressed by Central Bank Governor Worrell. Dr. Worrell called on the social partnership to seek solutions to the widening gap between labour costs and worker productivity as a matter of priority.
We live in a globally competitive world, and the engines of our growth will not perform at their best if worker productivity and engagement does not improve significantly. We must close the gap that has worsened over more than a decade and achieve productivity gains that can be shared with workers.
A motorcyclist died when he reportedly lost control of the vehicle and struck a barrier on the ABC highway. Dead is 24-year-old Suleiman Ekalvaya of George Street in Belleville. Police say the accident occurred just before 1 o'clock in the morning between the Clyde Walcott and Everton Weeks roundabouts. That's between Huddersfield Turning and Warrens. Staff members of Flow paid a visit to Welch's Primary School on Wednesday, bearing gifts. Shaka Mears tells us more.
Today, students of Welch's Primary got a surprise in the form of new laptops and guest readings, courtesy of Flow Barbados. As part of their own Mission Week of activities, Flow Barbados collaborated with the school and presented 6 brand new laptops to the students.
When we were looking at activities for Mission Week, because we also have a special week at the office, at the company this week, it's called Mission Week, where we launched our mission and the values of the new company. And we thought we would collaborate with the school on this week again. I know there have been previous collaborations, but we thought, why not? And then we got our staff to volunteer to read. We were able to get 6 laptops from Cable and Wireless Business, HR department, as well as the marketing department. So we all collaborated on this, even throughout the company, to make today a very special one for you guys.
Flow staff members also joined in with the Reading Week activities at the school and read to the enthusiastic tykes popular stories such as Snow White and the 7 Dwarfs, Noah's Ark, and Little Red Riding Hood. This has been Shaka Mears, Nation News.
In sport, West Indies women have drawn first blood in their 2020 Cricket International Series against Pakistan. Sent in the bat at Grenada's National Cricket Stadium, Pakistan made 74 for 9 in their allotted overs, and West Indies women overhauled the target in 16.2 overs with a loss of just 2 wickets. Deandra Dottin was named the player of the match for her 2 for 10 and 38 not out. And finally, a Texas mother said she wants her high school son transferred to another school after a female teacher drew a giant penis on his class assignment. Sandra Green said her son posted the picture to social media showing the penis and testicles drawn on the assignment. Ms. Green said she contacted the teacher, who admitted to creating the drawing because the boy was not paying attention in class and as part of an effort to embarrass the children rather than punish them. Ms. Green said the school told her the teacher will not be removed from her position. The mother said she is seeking to have her son transferred to another school. If it was a male teacher doing it to a female student, they would have taken this totally serious, she said. And that's Nation News for Thursday. For more news, log on to nationnews.com, as well as YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. And remember to pick up your Midweek Nation, your Weekend Nation, that is, on Friday, or subscribe to our e-paper.